Imagine going to sleep peacefully in your village and never waking up again. No fire, no earthquake, no warning, just silence. In 1986, a lake in Africa suddenly released a deadly cloud that killed over 1,700 people overnight. This was the terrifying true story of the Lake Nyos disaster. In the mountains of Cameroon sat a beautiful crater lake called Lake Nyos. The lake looked calm and harmless. Villagers nearby raised cattle, farmed land, and lived normal lives around the water. But deep beneath the lake was a hidden danger. Lake Nyos sat above a volcanic region. Far underground, magma slowly released carbon dioxide gas. Over many years, that gas became trapped deep inside the lake. The deeper water held enormous pressure, allowing huge amounts of carbon dioxide to dissolve into the lake unnoticed. Scientists later compared it to a giant shaken soda bottle waiting to explode. But nobody around the lake knew any of this. And then came the night of August 21st, 1986. Late that evening, villagers heard a strange rumbling sound coming from the lake. Moments later, Lake Nyos erupted, not with lava, but with gas. A massive amount of carbon dioxide suddenly burst out of the lake and shot into the air. The water violently churned as the invisible gas cloud spread across the land. Because carbon dioxide is heavier than air, it stayed close to the ground. The cloud rolled silently through nearby villages while people slept. And as it moved, it pushed oxygen out of the air. People began suffocating without understanding what was happening. Entire families died in their beds. Others collapsed while trying to escape. Animals also dropped dead where they stood. The gas cloud traveled nearly 25 kilometers from the lake. By morning, over 1,700 people and thousands of cattle were dead. Entire villages had become silent. When rescue workers arrived, they were shocked. There were no burns, no injuries, no signs of violence. Many victims looked as if they had simply fallen asleep. At first, nobody understood what caused the disaster. Some believed it was poison gas. Others suspected a volcanic eruption. But scientists eventually discovered the truth. Lake Nyos had experienced something called a Limnic eruption. This happens when large amounts of gas trapped deep underwater suddenly explode upward all at once. Once the gas near the surface escaped, pressure inside the lake rapidly dropped. That triggered even more gas to erupt in a deadly chain reaction. Scientists estimated that more than 1 million tons of carbon dioxide escaped from the lake that night. Carbon dioxide is normally harmless in small amounts, but in high concentrations it becomes deadly because it replaces oxygen. The victims around Lake Nyos did not die from poison, they suffocated. And because the gas was invisible and mostly odorless, people had almost no warning before losing consciousness. The valleys around the lake made the disaster even worse, guiding the deadly cloud directly into villages. After the tragedy, scientists realized the lake was still dangerous. More gas was continuing to build up underwater. To stop another disaster, engineers installed special pipes deep inside the lake. These pipes slowly release carbon dioxide in controlled amounts before pressure can build again. Today, the lake is constantly monitored, but the memory of that night still haunts survivors, because in just a few hours, an invisible cloud erased entire communities. The Lake Nyos disaster remains one of the strangest natural disasters in modern history. A peaceful lake suddenly became a silent killer, and it proved something terrifying. Sometimes the deadliest forces on Earth are the ones we cannot see.